Se você acha que conhece a China, pense de novo. Hoje você vai descobrir um movimento silencioso, mas poderoso, que pode redesenhar a disputa global pela inteligência artificial. Edward Chen, fundador da Spike Lee AI, é o nosso convidado. Direto da China, ele revela: hoje, a prioridade da nossa expansão global é o Brasil. Enquanto muita gente ainda associa a China a produtos baratos, uma nova geração de empresas B2B e de soluções SaaS já está conquistando mercados estratégicos, com inovação, tecnologia e eficiência que pouca gente por aqui conhece de verdade. Quer entender como essa nova onda vai impactar o mercado brasileiro? E por que pode ser uma vantagem para quem souber se conectar primeiro? Então fica com a gente até o final, porque as oportunidades que vamos discutir hoje ainda estão fora do radar da maioria. Olá pessoal, muito bem-vindos a mais um episódio da Hora da China. Eu sou o Felipe Leal, sócio da Está, co-host aqui deste podcast. Estou aqui hoje com meu parceiro e co-host também, Chen. Então, boas-vindas aí para todo mundo.
Mais um episódio aqui conosco e esse episódio é bem internacional. A Hora da China, obviamente, já é internacional. Acho que hoje a gente tem um convidado que vem literalmente do outro lado, direto da China, trazer as grandes novidades e dos temas mais quentes que a gente tem atualmente, que é a inteligência artificial.
Exatamente. Eu tava brincando com ele que eu tô com essa camiseta aqui, eu tô sempre com essa camiseta agora, mas faz muito sentido para esse episódio de hoje, justamente porque a empresa que a gente vai conversar, né, com o fundador dela, justamente uma empresa que tem essa visão global que muitas empresas, ou cada vez mais empresas oriundas, nascidas na China, têm de expansão para outros mercados, e o Brasil é um deles. Então, eu vou te deixar fazer a transição agora. Esse episódio vai ser em inglês, então o nosso convidado vai falar com a gente em inglês e a gente vai ter a tradução aqui para todo mundo acompanhar da forma como preferir. Então, now it's in English.
Oh, now it's in English. Yeah. So let me introduce you today. The episode of today that we have is a founder of a AI startup coming directly to China, and it's interesting because in the past or up until now we had only physical products, Chinese companies or platforms or apps, and now I think you're in a new wave of SaaS or B2B solutions companies, right? And let me introduce. Thank you for joining us today, Edward Chen, co-founder and CEO of Spike AI, right? So thank you, Edward. So if you can introduce a little bit about yourself, telling us your background so people can understand a little bit more about you.
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Felipe. Thanks, Starcy, for the invitation. Actually, I before I just told Felipe, it was my this time is my first time for podcast. Really cool.
In Brazil, so yeah. We are honored for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's also my pleasure to do this. Yeah, so let me make a brief introduction myself. Yeah, so basically I was born in China, and I went to United States in Carnegie Mellon University for my graduate school, and after that I got some money from Silicon Valley, and then I went back to China for a startup there, and I've been running the startup for several years, and after that we incubated two brands. So one is kind of like a Chinese version of ChatGPT. It's a consumer brand, and another one is Spike. So it's a B2B brand. And it's for the global expansion. So currently Spike AI is a Singaporean company, and we have most of our businesses are in Southeast Asia, and currently we're exploring opportunities in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how you came to Brazil? Did you have specific demand here? Did you find out clients? How did you come here?
Yeah, so actually at the very first stage, we kind of did a deductive methods. So instead of we're saying, hey, we want to go to Brazil, we actually do some deduction. Like what are the markets that we will not touch at the very first time? So we do lots of deductions, and at the end we focus. We think we should focus on Southeast Asia and Latin America, and Brazil is definitely the largest market in Latin America. That's one thing. Another thing is that we really have a very good strategic partner called Huawei, right? So they actually have really good global expansions for tens of years. They even have more than 10 years history in Brazil. So and we get lots of information from them, and finally we decide Brazil would be our top priority in the following years.
Yeah. Actually, I first met your company through your co-founder, right, Jeff? And he was introduced by Huawei. And that time I was surprised because the guy from Huawei, he said, hey, we're bringing an AI company from China to introducing to some banks here in Brazil. And this caught my attention at the time. This is why. And I think a few months ago, I went to their office to learn a bit more. So I think this is definitely a new wave. I know there are other AI companies from China, SaaS companies coming. So definitely we are in a new stage of this relationship and Chinese expansion. It's not about games, it's about e-commerce only anymore, right? Or even EV, right? Yeah.
Great. I saw that you were in Barcelona last month.
That was my co-founder.
Oh, it was a co-founder.
Yeah.
Great. But were you invited by Huawei, or you were?
Yeah.
Last year in 2024, I was there with Huawei, and I saw there. Tell us about Speakly AI. What you do, how you do it, and then we can talk more about why you're now here in Brazil. But tell us more about the company itself and.
Actually, Speakly AI is actually a fresh new brand. Only exists since 2023. So after the birth of ChatGPT, so all of the products in Speakly AI are actually large language model driven. So our concept is actually very easy. So basically, I think large language model will finally, replace lots of the repetitive tasks of human beings, especially in enterprise, right? So every enterprise has several departments, including like programming, like legal, HR, sales, support, all these kind of the departments. So what we do is that we actually focus on conversational AI. So basically, we are trying to cut the cost and improve the efficiency for sales and support departments within each enterprise. And there was previously research by Gartner that currently sales and the support in total contributes 70% of all the budget flowing into large language model renovation within the enterprise. Yeah, so basically that's what our idea is. And for us, we have two kinds of the products. The first one is we try to improve the efficiency for call center. So basically we have the co-pilots, we have the speech analytics tools for omni-channel, for voice, for WhatsApp. So we try to reduce the cost for call center. For example, for each call, we actually save 30% of time of note taking. So they actually have 30% more time to either do telemarketing or to do other jobs for call center. That's really impactful. And another interesting thing is that we have a product called Smart Badge. It's really interesting. So it's actually one of the most popular hardwares, large language model hardwares in Chinese market recently. So it's actually a hardware that it is wearable by the sales. For example, in automotive, in real estate industry, where you have conversations with your consumers coming to the stores, and it will automatically record the conversations, of course, with the consent from the consumers. Basically, you have to let the consumers know that you are recording, and if the consumers don't like it, then we don't record. But if they're okay, then we record the conversation, and we have a automatically generated insight for them. So basically, we know the intention of the customers, like whether they want to buy the car or not, like what are their profiles, like for example, they buy the car for their family, or for themselves, and also like what are the competitors that they are comparing with. We have all these kinds of information. So originally, every sales they take like 30 minutes, to 1 hour to have a meeting with their sales manager to decide what's the next step, right? So we waste lots of time here instead of doing sales. We waste lots of time having meetings every day. Yeah, but for now, because all the information has been recorded by AI, so you don't have to have meetings every day, or the meeting can be really concise, can be really short. and you can automatically look at the information and say, hey, that's going to be the next step. So it saves up lots of time for people doing sales, release lots of burden for them, and they can have more time for work, or more time for their life. They don't have to work that hard as before. So that's our product.
And this feedback and these insights, they are generated in real time, and are they being used in real time?
So for it's a little bit different for call center and for the offline sales. So for call center, definitely we integrate with the CRM call center. So we have a real-time assistant for all the employees. And for the offline sales, because it's really impolite, if you always look at somewhere else receiving the customers, right? So we are not generating insight in real time, but maybe after like 5 minutes or 10 minutes after the reception of the customer, we will generate a report for you, so you know how to do the follow-up. So because usually for very expensive products like cars, like properties, you are never gonna buy it, once you visit the store. Right?
in the first visit.
You're gonna come there like twice or third times. So basically it's very valuable if you have a insight to look at and say, hey, what's gonna be the next step with the follow-up.
And the badge, it only records the conversation, not any image, right?
No, no camera, and it's very safe because it cannot open by itself. So the salespeople have to control on the app. Once it clicks on and it starts to record, it clicks off, it starts to end. And we even have an algorithm to automatically detect whether you are at work. So if not, we will remove all the conversations if you forgot to close.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned it's possible also to understand if that client specifically has real intention to buy.
Yes.
It's through their conversation, not through capturing any data prior, right? Like a database. It's basically through understanding the emotion from the conversation.
Yes. Just the conversation.
And you start this database of information regarding all the conversations that the salesperson have during the day or during the month, and but it all starts from scratch. Okay, I'm gonna use Speakly AI, and I have no how to say,
no data,
from before
to learn.
So you start from scratch, or you use some kind of database that you can connect and connect what the client is saying with this amount of data available, and then you cross to understand if the intention is one or another.
That's important to do the curation for engine industry, because like back in China, there are in China there are like 30,000 stores selling new cars, and like now more than 6,000 they have actually purchased this kind of the hardware. And
your hardware 6,000.
6,000. And we dominate like 5,000 stores. So out of the 6,000, 5,000 actually have purchased from us BPAI. So we dominate 90% of the market back in China, and now we are moving to other countries. So because we have lots of customers there, so we actually curate lots of the data set, so we know how to train the model to perform well to the expectation of our enterprise customers. For example, actually within a simple report, it actually has 5 to 6 different models working together. For example, you have a model to detect the intention of the customer. You have a model to make a summary. You have a model to identify the resistance points, the focus points of the customers regarding your cars. You have another model to actually identify the profiles. For example, the time that he would purchase the car, and the aim to purchase the car, and the budget, and the intentional models, intentional color, and also the competitors. And you even have another model to monitor like whether the sales is actually performing well. so he can coach himself.
Coaching himself.
He coach himself by looking at the data. For example, I'm required to to pitch on the 10 points, but I forgot 5 of them. Then the AI will tell the sales. Yeah, so it saves lots of time for the managers. So basically we have lots of models working together.
So you're saying even up to the point of defining the color, you're capable of estimating possible colors that this client will want to buy.
Yeah, actually
each one is a model, right?
No, not each one is a model. That you can say like customer profiling is a model, and this model can identify color, can identify time for the purchase, and it's really smart for large language model because in the past, when you were using traditional natural language processing, as you said, like each color is a model, right? So you have to enumerate all the colors. Yes. But for now it's very easy, like you just try to identify the colors, and the colors might not be enumerable. Like everyone is inventing new colors nowadays, especially for EV makers, right? So it will automatically identify the colors within the conversation. Even it's invented today, it will know it's a color. So it's really smart. Yeah, the same for like budget, because the budget can hardly be enumerated, right? So it can range from very low to very high, but it automatically tag.
So for budget, for example, you can estimate the amount that this person wants to spend without really asking him or really getting amount from a statement, right?
For the budget, definitely you have to ask because it's a very precise number. But for other things, it can do some inference. For example, I remember last time I did a pilot for a branch of a bank, and the customer is saying that, I need them. I want to redeem my money back from the investment in your bank because I want to pay a down payment for a new house. It suddenly inferred that this customer wants a product that can be redeemable, that is redeemable anytime, and it should be flexible. So it will do some of the inference. And it also infers that this customer wants the deposit product instead of other products because he wants to protect the capital. Protect the principal.
Great. Edward, let me ask you something about AI that is the hot topic for the last 3 years.
Sure.
And we very often hear in this podcast, we say that in Silicon Valley, for example, where you raised money, since ChatGPT launched in November 2022, from now on, everything must be with AI, or you have to say that AI is involved. And we say that in China is a little bit different because AI is something that is everywhere. You don't have to talk about something has AI because AI is everywhere and everybody knows that. First of all, is it true? Because we say that because we have our co-host who lives in China. But what's your opinion regarding this difference from the AI view from the Silicon Valley and United States and China? How do you approach AI?
So like, I think it's totally different because in US, like people have better payment habit, right? So like you can do various kinds of the startups. So for example, like ChatGPT, actually has lots of the revenues in the United States, right? Like even consumers, they are likely to subscribe to either like ChatGPT or Anthropics, right? And they are not free for their high-end models. So they basically, if you do models, you can earn some money. And if you are a startup that providing AI applications to consumers or to small business, you can actually charge them a lot. Actually, they have a really good like positive feedback loop, like for in this industry. But for China, it's a little bit different because most people are unlikely to pay for the models. Even if you charge them for
the users, right?
The
final,
end users.
Not business, not
business. Let's say the consumers, they are unlikely to directly pay for the model, at least for now. So in this case, I mean, even if you charge from them, the large giants in China, they will give things for free. So it's hard for a startup to charge. So basically you have to find another way to charge the money back, right? So you basically it's hard for you to charge through the model. So like nowadays people are creating more and more complex AI agents that can replace more and more tasks comparing with the original model. So hopefully in future they can charge more money like this. And for Speakly, we even take another way, right? So we know that people there are unlikely to pay for the softwares only. So that's why we create the smart batch hardware. Yeah, because people are likely to pay for hardwares. That's one way we charge for our investment in research and development. And on the customer side, so that's for consumer and for SMB customers. And for enterprise, definitely they pay. The same as in United States, all the enterprise customers in China, they pay for AI, and now the market is definitely insane. Like according to our own statistics, 80% of the opportunities are related to large language model. So especially for banks, people would not buy anything without large language model. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so you decided to go to the B2B side of the story, the enterprise, because of that.
I think it's true for like Chinese market, and it's true for emerging markets, like Southeast Asia, and also I think Brazil is similar to this kind of the market, because like we are kind of like developing countries, so people take time for them to subscribe to something really expensive personally.
Okay.
I think, and I have one question regarding still this movement that you did. Did you already felt other kind of pressures to move from the US to China, move back actually, right? Not only about the business opportunities, but in terms of the environment that was growing in the US. Did you feel something like that?
I think that's true. Like US definitely is one of the best markets for new technologies, for AI applications, even for AI models. But definitely it's not an easy market. It's also internally competitive inside the United States, and the labor cost is really high. If you hire a single sales in United States, it costs you like annually more than 300K USD per year at least. So definitely it's a good market, and but it's not that easy to entry. Not everyone can enter that market, and regarding also the current tensions between those two countries. Definitely it's a hard problem that I think all the Chinese related companies have to tackle with in future. But I think that's why we focus more on developing countries for now, for Speakly AI, because Speakly AI we only focus on the markets outside China. So we have to find all the possibilities that are best for our products at the current stage.
I was about to ask something related to that. More in a personal feeling or opinion. From you went from China to the US to study, and then you came back to China. And now you're going global. Why each one? Why going to study in the US, and then why coming back to China, and now why going global?
So
because the first one why going to China? I think it wasn't
US.
to the US. It wasn't a business decision. It was more like a personal decision.
Yeah,
or
it's
not?
personal, not
Academic,
related to business.
maybe academic.
But coming back to China, maybe it was a combination of both. Or not?
Combination of both, I think.
Okay.
So for going to US, definitely I think it's really personal, because I studied computer science in China. So at that time, there was a very early stage of AI, of machine learning that time, so definitely we want to study at the best schools in this world, right? So that's why I went to Carnegie Mellon for my graduate school. I learned a lot from the professors, from the students there, and I also had the opportunities to work for Microsoft for several months. So I learned a lot there in both Silicon Valley and in the East Coast. At that time, I even had a startup there in New York. So it's a online to offline startup. Basically, I created a platform that people can subscribe to the classes on our platform, and they can be their teachers offline. For example, I don't know how to go to Morgan Stanley. We can go to our website, and to have teachers teach me how to interview with Morgan Stanley, and then we can arrange a meeting, in startups near, for example, Columbia University, and then we can discuss. We can learn from the teacher there. So I even had a startup previously in the United States. But after that, why I went back to China is because, at that time I started to doing the startup. But the original idea was not like today. So at that time we were doing chatbots. So we wanted to find some of the earliest customers at that time. So at that time we think it might be easier, to do some experiments in China first, because we are like Chinese people, right? So it's easier for us to find some earliest customers that can trust us at that time. I think that was the decision at that time. And why when we go back to we go global now, because we think some of the technologies are really mature enough, because I think like Chinese enterprises, they are really innovational, they are open to new technologies, but I think currently like the smart badge solution I just mentioned, I think it's really mature enough in their market. We have like 90% of the market. We have more than 5,000 stores just in automotive are using that, let alone we have hundreds of stores in real estate, in high-end retails. For example, we also had customers selling high-end kitchen appliances. So we think currently the time is good. It's mature enough that we can let other people in other countries also have this kind of the solutions. And another reason is that that the Chinese supply chain is really unique in this point. Like because our solution contains hardware, right? So this hardware, you can hardly make it as cheap as us if you don't use the supply chain in Shenzhen, right? So like, for example, I mean, US companies are great, but considering hardwares like this, it's also not very easy for them to make. So we think, I think lots of companies, they actually have a unique advantage of their supply chain sourced back to China. For example, like Temu, right? So they actually leverage lots of the supply chain of the factories, right, in China. And also I think it's the same for us. Like we actually have really good supply chain. For the model, we have like DeepSeek, we have like Kimi, right? They are really good Chinese models, right? And also we have really good supply chain for our hardwares. So I think we will have really good advantage even if we provide the solutions to customers outside China.
And now Brazil, what brought you here? Anything specific besides Huawei, of course, we know that.
I think definitely. I think because last year I went to the Conerac event annually, and I was told that this event has already been held for more than like 15 years or so. Yeah. So and we together with Huawei, we do the exhibition there. I feel really good. I feel like people really like our solutions. And the same for our smart badge. Like currently, we are already piloting with some of the customers selling cars here. Yeah. So, I mean, at the very first time when I came here, I didn't. I was kind of like a explorative, mindset. Yeah. But after that, I think I really feel that it's a good market for us. So now we are, actively hiring people here. Yeah, so for all the audiences for Starcy, if you are interested for speaker, yeah, you can come to talk with us. Yeah,
sure. We're going to leave your contact in the description of this episode.
Your LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah. But speaking about that, how do you feel the local talents, or local players, the local companies in AI space? Did you have the chance to connect with them? Did you have to meet? What's your view on this?
Yeah, I think Brazil is really open. You can see lots of the local vendors, just from Brazil, and some of them are really good, and some of them are already our partners, providing AI solutions to help us provide AI solutions to their customers. We have lots of the local partners here, not just Huawei, but some of the local companies here, just from Brazil, and we also see lots of the top US companies, they are also top players here. We also learn a lot from them. And I think, definitely we are a new face here. But I think we will bring something really new to this market regarding our very unique supply chain. For example, we can leverage really good models, like DeepSeek and Kimi, and we can also leverage really good combination of hardware and software. Because lots of people in Brazil, when they mention like conversation AI, most of them, I believe 99% of the people, they will say, hey, it's all about call center. That's their own mindset. But actually not. Think of a bank, right? Actually, 90% of our revenues are not coming from call center, are actually coming from the branches, right? The same for lots of the businesses. Yeah, so with our hardware, we actually can provide a really innovative solution that I think it would be a really good complement for the local vendors and local partners, because originally they don't have the supply chain, so it's harder for them. I mean, they definitely get lots of the requirements and needs from their customers, from Brazilian customers, from Brazilian channels, but they can hardly provide this solution to the customers because they don't have the unique supply chain. Yeah, so with our hardware and software combined solution, I think we will definitely be a good complement in this ecosystem in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when you talk about the supply chain in the AI industry, you're talking about really using Kimi and DeepSeek in your solution, right? Yeah. You have that already. So you're adding all the different solutions that is coming up from China.
Yes. And we also use really good US models too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we really want to create the best solution for our end customers. Yeah, so like I said, within a report, we have like 6 to 7 models. Mm-hmm. Different models are good at different things. Mm-hmm. So we really have to combine the best of a portfolio of models to give the best to our customers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I understood right. Because you have the hardware, the device.
Yeah.
Most of your clients or the segments that you're like automotive, and it's a personal conversation in business or sales environment, something like that. So it's not that recommended to an online approach. It's more for the physical contact.
Yeah, I think only for business. Okay. Yeah, it's like in open areas.
Yes,
it's open areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And for Brazil, did you need to train the models specifically for Brazilian consumers, or how do you enter each market? Did you have to do that preparation?
Yeah, like for code start, we will use a baseline model from third party, or an open source model. But definitely we have to curate a really large data set for each language. Like for Portuguese, we have to evaluate for each task that I mentioned before. For example, like customer summary is a different task, and customer profiling is a different task. Like customer intention identification, it's a different task. For each task, we have different models, right? Mm-hmm. So and we also train the models. We train the models ourselves because we have to annotate lots of the result manually, so we can fine tune the models from the checkpoint of the start. So we train the models along the way, and we see for each version of the training, for each version of the epochs, we have to see like whether it has been improved or it actually has decreased. And sometimes it's like for this task, it has increased, and for other tasks it has decreased. So we will do a really scientific evaluation of all the tasks and at each time. Yeah. So and we do this for each language. Yeah.
But here in Brazil, for example, you are training as you implement, right? Yeah. Because you need to learn like the behavior or the preferences of Brazilian consumers that are different, certainly from other markets, right?
Yeah.
And how they react.
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is interesting because then we're talking about technology that has really local applications, and certainly each market, you need to adjust and adapt to the whole local perspective. Right?
Yes. I think globalization means localization. So for each country, we'll let the local guys run the company most. Like for Brazil, currently we are hiring, so we'll let the Brazilian leaders of our company to run our company in Brazil. Yeah. So we are helping them to do this. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. No. I just was wondering because from the past experience that we had, especially from U.S. companies coming here, they tried just to implement the same solution that they have. Maybe only have a local team, a local sales team. Usually the product is always from the headquarters. And for your situation, we will have local developers and local even product team. How we work in terms of product itself?
Yeah, so I think we will have two kinds of the local R&D team here. Yeah, so the first one, because we have the hardwares, so I think like at the very first start, at the start, so I think we can do the manufacture, most of the manufacturing in China, but as we already have some market here, definitely in order to reduce the cost, we will make some of the manufacture inside Brazil. For example, I think because every batch have a nameplate, right? So you have to customize, you have to engrave the names, logos on the nameplate. Yeah. So definitely at the first step, we're gonna engrave the nameplate here in Brazil. We try to find the local factories who can do this for us, and maybe in future we can manufacture all the badges in Brazil if we can find a really good factory to cooperate with. I think that's on the hardware side, and on the algorithm side, because we have to optimize the model for Portuguese. So we really should have a world-class team to do really good, benchmark evaluation for the Portuguese language. So definitely we will have a evaluation team here, so who can help us to do the annotation, evaluation of all of the model capabilities regarding Portuguese on all the tasks, and they have to experiment every day in order to improve the results. And also we should have really good prompt engineering staffs here, who know how to do really good prompt in Portuguese languages. Yeah. And I think another part is because we need to have lots of the integrations, especially for the call center, right? We have to integrate with different kinds of the CRM, with different kinds of the call center systems. Yeah, so I think if we have some local team here, they can do some technical support. Yeah, so in this way, it would be easier for us to do the implementation because, unlike US companies, I think, I think Asian companies are really good at implementation, right? So we try to implement the best for our customers.
Yeah. Okay, I have one last question. I think we're coming to an end to our program. How Brazil can become a powerhouse in AI? I think this is one of the big discussions for a lot of countries that are not US and China. Yeah. Everyone is discussing how can we be a powerhouse in AI.
Yeah, I think really good question. Yeah, I think the same, like because for AI, there are lots of the components, right? So we need lots of the computing powers, definitely, and we need lots of the algorithms. We need lots of data. We need lots of the scenarios. We need lots of the talents here. And this is really a good question because I have not thought before. But I think maybe Brazil has a chance for the AI that can combine the hardware and softwares. Because Brazil has lots of the factories and lots of these kind of things. So maybe in future, we can manufacture the AI hardware together, and so lots of the manufacturing lines could be located in Brazil. And actually, I think it's really for it's also good for us. I think good for companies like us who has a supply chain originally in China, because if you manufacture in China and you mail it here, it's really lots of cost, right? And lots of the delay of the time. I think if we can find a way, to manufacture locally, definitely we can bring more competitive solution to the local customers here. I think that's one way I can think of.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned the core thing about AI and about what companies here are looking for when they think about AI. That is efficiency. So everything will walk around this word, and especially as we are knowing now a little bit more, can deliver that, right? So independent if it's built there in China or here in Brazil, it's gonna be the most efficiency cost to do that.
Yes.
But at the end, everyone who hire Speakly and make a contract with you will look to increase the efficiency of the task that they run. So I think you're in a very good place, because here in Brazil we can say that most of the time we are late about using the platforms, the tools. So now our feelings that every company here in Brazil are awakening to that. So we cannot deny anymore. So we can look for tools and companies that can help us to do that. So I think you have a very good opportunity here in Brazil.
Thank you, Felipe. Yeah. I think now there's indeed, we see currently we're already cooperating with the top banks in Brazil. For example, like Itaú, like Bradesco, like Caixa. We already had several meetings together to negotiate what's gonna be the next step if we want to do some pilot on the conversational AI with us. Yeah, so I think we are in a really good progress, and I think the top banks here are really open to the new solutions. Yeah, that we're gonna give them. Yeah, I think it's really exciting. Yeah.
Great. Edward, one last question.
Yeah.
I told you before we started recording here the episode that A Hora da China means China's time. This moment in time that where China increases their leadership in a lot of segments, and AI is one of them, but many others. Why, for you, now it's China's time, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's a huge word, like China's time. Yeah, I think like previously maybe the world has a old image of like maybe like Chinese companies, they can only, or Chinese people, and not necessarily Chinese company, but Chinese people, they can only manufacture something that are cheap, right, and that are the essential, the necessities of everydays, right? And also we are good at like e-commerce. We are good at maybe mobile games. We are good at live e-commerce, right? So this kind of things. We are good at consumer products. Yeah, but I think because we have lots of the talents, starting like artificial intelligence. Even if you see, the companies like Grok from Elon Musk, and also other companies like OpenAI, you can see actually maybe nearly half of the talents are originally Chinese people, right? Although they are not a Chinese company, a Chinese startup, but our people actually contribute a lot to the companies of like United States and even in Brazil, I think. Yeah, so definitely we have lots of the talents that are really solid in the knowledge of computer science, like large language models, this kind of the stuff, artificial intelligence. Yeah, so I think originally people have not seen that because AI was not as popular as today. Actually, even you look back like several years ago, Chinese people are also very, very good at AI. If you see the papers released every year, there are lots of the co-authors or the first authors actually originally in China. So like people overlook it because AI was not a big thing. I think that's the problem. But after like several years, after the burst of ChatGPT, everyone knows. Even every executive in the large enterprise, they know that they have to purchase solution using AI. So and now people see that actually Chinese people will have a good contribution into AI, no matter they work for a Chinese company or a Brazilian company or Japanese company, US company. Yeah, so I think that's the reason. Yeah, like it's a long time accumulation, but only now like people need AI. I think it's because of the problem. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Muito bem, né? Muito bom papo. Now in Portuguese, sorry, Edward. Just to finish our episode.
No problem.
First of all, thank you for joining us, for being here with us. It's sometimes we do this kind of episode in English, and I think it's really good because people like you bring to us a different perspective of things, not only because you're speaking another language, but because you bring a different idea. So thank you very much for joining this podcast.
Yeah, and actually we had someone that did the interview in Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But she was a live streaming host.
I see.
Yeah, and she was spending, she came together with one of our co-hosts that lived in China and was here for a few weeks in Brazil. So we had that in Mandarin.
Okay, cool. You're very international.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, and hope to have you back here in Brazil very soon.
Thank you, obrigado. Thank you.
Okay. Obrigado, Mi. Manda tua mensagem para todo mundo.
Bom, acho que hoje ficou bem evidente nessa nossa conversa o quanto uma das coisas que a gente vem mais falando é as empresas estão aqui, com os produtos de consumo, com tecnologia e com uma tecnologia que pode abrir novas oportunidades. Acho que o Edward comentou dos badges, pode ter parcerias locais, então são muitas outras oportunidades. Talvez muitas vezes a gente fique é muito focado nas que são desenvolvidas lá no core da tecnologia, mas aqui tem muita aplicação. E o mercado, para ele ter vindo aqui para atender o nosso mercado, e o mercado bancário é um dos maiores, automotivo também, que ele está trabalhando, então tem muita coisa para a gente fazer e muita coisa para a gente aproveitar aqui, Léo.
Sem dúvida, sem dúvida. Muito bem, pessoal, muito obrigado aí vocês que acompanharam mais esse episódio da Hora da China. Quer saber mais sobre os episódios anteriores, os que vêm pela frente? Acompanha a gente aqui, né, no canal da Está no YouTube, que a gente vai deixando vocês a par de tudo que tem acontecido na China, e esse é o grande propósito aqui desse podcast, A Hora da China. Então, valeu, muito obrigado, Win, thank you, Edward. A gente se vê no próximo episódio da Hora da China.